We are talking about groundwater that has been soaking through the Earth's crust, heating up, and acting as a thief. As this water pushes through the surrounding rock, it strips away minerals. It dissolves silica, calcium, iron, and barium. It becomes a supersaturated mineral cocktail. You might think rock is solid, but to water, rock is a sponge. It seeps through the microscopic pores of the volcanic basalt or the limestone, carrying its stolen treasure with it. Eventually, it hits the wall of our empty cavity. And here is where the magic happens. The environment inside the bubble is different. Maybe the pressure changes. Maybe the temperature drops just a fraction of a degree. Maybe the pH level shifts. Whatever the trigger, the water can no longer hold on to its minerals. It has to let them go. The first thing to form is usually the skin, a layer of chalcedony, a waxy, microscopic type of quartz, plasters the walls of the cave. This is crucial. This lining seals the chamber. It turns the rough rock cavity into a stable, watertight womb, where the real crystals can grow undisturbed. Then, the heavy lifting begins. Molecule by molecule, atom by atom, the crystals start to build. This is not a random pile of rocks. This is hyper-organized geometry. The atoms lock into a specific, repeating pattern, a lattice. They stack like microscopic Lego bricks, always following the same mathematical rules. If the water is rich in silica, you get quartz. The crystals grow inward, pointing toward the center of the dark void, competing for space. They grow sharp, they grow distinct, and they grow slowly. We cannot overstate the patience required here. This doesn't happen in a human lifetime. It doesn't happen in the lifetime of a civilization. We are talking about hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of years of slow, dripping growth. One drop of mineral water, one tiny layer of atoms, another drop, another layer. And the colors? That's just chemistry showing off. If you crack one open and see pure, blinding white, you're looking at pure quartz. But if that groundwater happened to pass through some iron on its way in, my boss yelled at me, so I am angry. My partner ignored me, so I am sad. It seems linear. Cause and effect. A plus B equals C. But this is the great deception. This is the emotional quicksand. When you believe the world causes your feelings, you are powerless because you cannot control the world. You cannot control your boss, the economy, or the traffic. If your emotional stability depends on external events, you are a leaf blowing in a hurricane. This lack of control bleeds out into everything. At work, a single piece of constructive criticism doesn't just feel like feedback. It feels like an indictment of your soul. You spiral into imposter syndrome. In relationships, a delayed text message isn't just a busy friend. It's evidence of abandonment. You pull away, you lash out, you create the very distance you fear. Your body keeps the score, too. Tension headaches, a jaw clenched tight enough to crack a walnut, exhaustion that sleep can't fix. You feel like a victim. But in the 1960s, the field of psychology underwent a massive revolution that flipped this entire script on its head. A psychiatrist named Dr. Aaron T. Beck was working with depressed patients, and he noticed something weird. He realized they weren't just suffering from random moods. Their moods were always, without fail, preceded by a flash of lightning, a specific, distorted thought. Beck realized that it is not the event that hurts us. It is our interpretation of the event. He mapped this out into a geometry of the human mind that we now call the cognitive triangle. Picture it. 3 points: thoughts, feelings, behaviors. This isn't just a diagram in a textbook. This is the engine of your life. These 3 points are locked in a continuous, high-speed feedback loop, constantly feeding data to one another. Let's slow down the film and look at the mechanics. At the top of the pyramid, you have thoughts. These are the narrators, the voice in your head. Beck called them automatic thoughts because they fire in milliseconds. You don't decide to think them, they just appear. You drop a glass in the kitchen, smash. The thought is instant. I am such an idiot. That is not a fact. That is a story. Move to the second point. Feelings. Your brain listens to the thought, I am an idiot, and releases a chemical cocktail to match. You feel shame. You feel heat in your cheeks. You feel a heavy slump in your chest. Crucially, and this is where most people get lost, feelings feel like facts. The sensation of shame is so visceral, so real, that you assume the thought that caused it must be true. But it isn't. It's just biology responding to a stimulus. Then we hit the third point: behaviors. This is the action you take to cope with the feeling. If you feel shame, maybe you leave the mess on the floor and walk away. Maybe you scream at your spouse who asks what happened. And here is where the trap snaps shut. That behavior, yelling or withdrawing, creates a consequence. Now you have a fight with your spouse, and that fight confirms the original thought. See, I really am an idiot. I ruin everything. The loop closes. The chain is forged. You are trapped. Let's look at a high-stakes, real-world example to see how terrifyingly fast this happens. Let's take a scenario we have all faced. You are at work. You just finished a major presentation. You sit down, heart rate settling. Your boss walks past your desk, stops, and says 8 words. "Can we chat for a moment in my office?" That is the event. It is neutral. It is sound waves traveling through air. But watch what the machine does. In scenario A, the negative loop activates. Your automatic thought fires immediately. "Oh no, he didn't smile. The presentation was a disaster. I missed the Q4 data. I'm going to get fired." This is a cognitive distortion called catastrophizing. Your brain has skipped feedback and jumped straight to homelessness. Instantly, the feeling hits. Cortisol floods your system. Your stomach drops through the floor. Your hands start shaking. You are now in a state of biological fight or flight. Because you feel terrified, you assume the threat is real. This is emotional reasoning. Now, the behavior. You walk into that office defensively. Your arms are crossed, your eyes are darting around. You are aggressive before he even speaks. You interrupt him to make excuses. You are vibrating with nervous energy. Your boss, who maybe just wanted to ask a clarifying question, is now weirded out. He senses your instability. The meeting becomes awkward and tense. You leave, and your brain says, "See, I told you that would go badly." You created the reality you feared. Now, let's rewind the tape. Let's apply the hack. Let's look at scenario B, the empowered path. Same event. "Can we chat for a moment in my office?" The automatic thought, "I'm getting fired," might still pop up. That's okay. But this time you catch it. You look at that thought and you ask it for ID. You interrogate it. You pause for 1 microsecond and think, wait, what is the actual evidence I'm getting fired? None. Is it possible he just has a question? Yes. Is it possible he liked it? Yes. You replace the catastrophic thought with a balanced thought. My boss wants to talk. I don't know why yet, but I am competent, and I can handle whatever he says. Now look at the feeling. The panic is gone. It's replaced by a manageable alertness, maybe a little curiosity. You feel grounded. Your feet feel solid on the floor. Now, the behavior. You walk in with your head up. You make eye contact. You are listening, not defending. When your boss says, "Hey, about slide 7, I think we need to tweak the numbers," you don't hear "you're fired." You hear, "Let's work." You collaborate. You solve the problem. You leave the office feeling capable. The loop reinforces a new belief. I am a professional. I can handle feedback. You have literally altered your destiny by changing 1 sentence in your mind. So how do you do this? How do you move from scenario A to scenario B when the heat is on? You need a toolkit. You need weapons for the war in your mind. Tool number 1 is the mindful observer. You have to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of the thoughts. There is a space between the thinker and the thought. When a negative narrative starts, don't fight it. Just label it. Say, "Oh, there is the 'I'm a failure' story again." Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river, and your thoughts are leaves floating by. Some are ugly, some are jagged. But you don't have to jump in the freezing water and drown with them. You can just watch them float downstream. This detachment is your superpower. Tool number 2 is the thought record. This is the detective work. When you feel that spike of anxiety, stop, write it down. Make 3 columns. Column 1, the situation. Column 2, the automatic thought. Column 3, the evidence. Put your thought on trial. You think your friend hates you? Where is the evidence? Did they say, "I hate you"? Or did they just not use an emoji in a text? Force your brain to look at the data, not the drama. Usually, the evidence for our worst fears is laughably thin. Tool number 3 is the behavioral experiment. This is where you act like a scientist. Your brain tells you, if I go to that party alone, everyone will laugh at me. Okay? Test it. Go to the party for precisely 30 minutes. Collect data. Count how many people actually laugh at you. It will be 0. When you force your brain to confront reality, the fear structures collapse because they cannot survive the light of truth. I need to be real with you as we close this. This is not a magic pill. You cannot rewire 30 years of neural pathways in 30 minutes. It is a practice. It is like going to the gym. The first time you try to catch a negative thought, you will miss. You will spiral. You will find yourself in the anxiety loop and realize it 3 hours later. That is okay. That is part of the process. Do not beat yourself up for being human. The goal is not to never have a negative thought again. The goal is to reduce the refractory period, the time it takes you to bounce back. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality, but you are the master builder. You have the blueprints now. You see the triangle. You see the trap. And most importantly, you see the way out. The chains that have held you back for years, the anxiety, the self-doubt, the fear, they are not made of iron. They are made of smoke. They are made of unexamined thoughts. And now that you know how to examine them, you are free to walk right through them.